Welcome back to Yogi Food, the show where we take healthy recipes and try them out for the first time, or we take not so healthy recipes and see if we can make them healthier. Today we're making a dinner meal. We're going to make one pot broccoli pasta. Instead of just broccoli, we're also going to include spinach. This meal is not necessarily really unhealthy for you, but it also isn't considered like a health food. Obviously, high amounts of pasta and rice, potatoes, those are carbs, so you need to be careful how many of those that you eat. This recipe also includes butter and half, which are higher in levels of fat. And it also includes chicken broth, which can be high in sodium. So today, instead of regular chicken broth, we're going to do reduced sodium chicken broth. Instead of having about 720 milligrams of sodium in the regular chicken broth, it has 430 milligrams instead. High levels of sodium in your diet can increase your risk of high blood pressure, heart attack, or other heart diseases, and stroke. Instead of regular refined pasta, we're going to use whole wheat pasta. Whole wheat pasta and grains like rice or quinoa have about double the fiber and slightly more than half the calories as refined pasta. Also, because refined pasta doesn't maintain the whole grain, which is like all three parts of a grain that makes up pasta and bread and rice and stuff. Because it doesn't have that whole grain in it, you lose some of the vitamins, minerals, and protein that you would have ordinarily in whole wheat or whole grain. So we're going to do whole wheat pasta today instead. As far as the butter, we're going to use olive oil. Butter and olive oil don't have a significant difference in their macronutrients because both of them are fats. They have about the same number of calories, fats, carbs, and protein. But butter is considered a saturated fat, which means it's solid at room temperature. Higher levels of that in your diet can lead to fatty deposits in your blood vessels and eventually cause atherosclerosis, which is hardening of your blood vessels, while unsaturated fats like olive oil, avocado oil, even canola oil or vegetable oil don't lead to that issue. So finally, the half and half, I looked into a replacement for that one that was a little bit healthier. I know in baking you can use Greek yogurt instead of half and half, and that is healthier and it increases your protein level. But the recipe today is a stovetop recipe. When you put yogurt in a sauce or any type of stovetop, it kind of dissolves weird. The internet said that it can lead to a chalky texture, so we're not going to do that. Another source said that you can do, instead of a cup of half and half, you can do 2/3 of a cup of low-fat milk and 1/3 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. But when I calculated the macros of that, it had 40 more calories and 5 more grams of fat, which is 7% of your daily value of fat. So it wasn't much healthier than just using regular half and half. So instead of complicating it, we're just going to stick with half and half today. This recipe will hopefully still be a little healthier for us with the other replacements, and we can stick with the half and half and call it good. So we're going to need one pot. It is a one-pot recipe, so we're just going to have one really big pot. We have our chicken broth measured. We're going to need minced garlic, broccoli, and spinach. Your choice. I've made this with just broccoli before and just spinach before. Today I'm doing both. You can pick which one you want. Nutritional variety is really good for you. Broccoli and spinach are both really healthy, but both of them have different numbers of micronutrients or vitamins and minerals. So I'm going to mix them up today. We are also going to use elbow pasta, but you can also use shells, bow ties, your preference. We've got our half and half measured. All of our seasonings are already measured out. It is onion powder, thyme, oregano, what else was there? Pepper, and parsley. So all of those are already measured out. We've got lime juice because I ran out of lemon juice. If you have lemon juice, do that instead. This shouldn't make much of a difference in the flavor. I think it just has to do with the consistency of the sauce. And then we have Parmesan cheese at the end. We're going to use about half of this bag. First step is to take 4 tablespoons of our olive oil. Turn on our stove, of course. We are going to do 4 tablespoons of this olive oil. It pours out so slowly. I'm actually just going to do 3 because all we're using this for is to cook the minced garlic And I don't think that we need all 4 tablespoons of this. And then we are going to use 4 cloves of minced, well, 4 cloves of garlic. If you don't have regular garlic that you want to mince, you can take pre-minced garlic, and a clove is about a little cereal spoon amount. Whew, it smells strong. 1, 2, close that. We're going to let this cook a little bit. Usually you cook it until the garlic is fragrant. That's usually what it says in the recipe. This garlic is already fragrant, so we're going to cook it for about a minute or 2. I'll check back in after that. Okay, I don't know if you can hear the garlic over here cooking. This is one you want to pay close attention to so you don't burn or scald the garlic, because that will really mess with the flavor. I have done that before and it's kind of gross. So once the garlic has been cooking for about a minute, we're going to add our chicken broth. We have 2 cups of our chicken broth. I'm going to pour that in nice and slow. Then we're going to mix that up really fast and add our half and half. We have 1 1/4 cups of half and half. Pour that as well. And then we add our seasonings. We're going to mix this up together, try to get it nice and incorporated. And we are going to wait for this mixture to come to a boil, then we'll add in our pasta. So once this starts to boil, I'll check back in with you guys. Alright, our sauce is starting to boil. We are going to dump in about half of the package of pasta. The recipe calls for 8 ounces. Most come with 16 ounces. We're going to dump in about half of this. Okay, and we're going to give it a nice stir so none of the pasta sticks to the bottom of the pan. Occasionally you want to stir this as you go along too, because anything that has milk in it, like the half and half, or if you have cooked with milk, you know that dairy products can scald pretty easily on the bottom of the pot and burn. So we want to avoid letting that happen. So the box of pasta says to cook 11 to 12 minutes. During the last 5 minutes of the pasta cooking, we're going to add our vegetables. So I'm going to set a timer for 6 minutes. After that time, I'll come back and I'll add the veggies in, and we'll give it another 5 minutes. 5 minutes is up. We're going to come stir our pasta. Make sure none of our sauce is sticking to the bottom. I'm using a silicone spatula so I can kind of scrape the pot as we go. I'm going to take my broccoli, dump that in. The recipe says to use 3.5 cups of broccoli. I would say I just dumped in 1.5 cups. So we're going to mix this in with the pasta. And I'm going to open our spinach. And I'm going to dump a couple of handfuls. Spinach cooks down really, really small. So I'm going to be really generous with this. We're going to give that a nice good stir as well. Mix it all together, and we're going to set another timer for 5 more minutes. And then we'll be back. All right, our vegetables have been cooking for about 5 minutes. Give this another good stir. It's starting to get thick. I'm going to take 1 pasta noodle out and just check the texture without burning myself. Perfect. That is perfect. All right, the recipe says to use about a lemon's worth of lemon juice. So I'm just gonna eyeball the lime juice. I should have bought a lemon, that's on me, but you do you. Okay, might be a little bit more than a lemon's worth, but it's gonna be fine. Stir that up. Whew, I smell the lime. Hope that turns out okay. All right, and then we're gonna add 3/4 of a cup of Parmesan, which is about half of this. I'm using shredded Parmesan, so I think that tastes better. You can just as easily get a block of Parmesan and shave it down and mix it in, and that would be really good too. This up. I'm gonna take it off of the hot stove. Give it some good stirring around, waiting for the cheese to melt. Looks nice and creamy. That spinach cooked down so low you can't really see it. All right, we're gonna let it cool and let the sauce thicken a little bit more, maybe a couple of minutes, and then we'll plate it and we'll be back to take a test. Alrighty, it's all done. Here's what it looks like. It looks delicious. We're gonna take a bite. Hopefully it doesn't burn us. Let's try to get a little bit of everything. Broccoli, pasta, and spinach. Really good. Could use a little bit more salt, ironically, since we reduced the sodium in the chicken broth. But yeah, it's really good. As always, I'll calculate the macros and put those down in the description below. I will also link the recipe in case you guys want to try it for yourself. If you do try it, please comment down below and let me know how it goes. Let me know if you tweak any of the ingredients and how it went for you. Next week, if you want to come back, we're going to make dessert, so that's going to be something you don't want to miss. But yeah, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I post, and share with your friends. Bye!